Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sri Wong. Thank you for the presentation. Last but not least, we want to hear from Mr. Rogério Nunes, who is the president of the Brazilian Association of the Semiconductor Industry. He's also the president of the Smart Modular Technologies in Brazil, and he serves as the director of the Brazilian Electric and Electronics Industries Association for the electric and electronic component sector. Mr. Rogério holds a bachelor degree in electronic engineering and an MBA in business management. I want to invite Mr. Nunes. You have 10 minutes for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope you see my screen and you hear me well.
Yes, we can. We hear you well.
Okay.
Thank you.
So good morning for the America. Good afternoon from Europe. Good night for Asia. It's already late. I'll try to make this presentation real quick. But before, I would like to compliment the Dr. Ari Quintela, Ambassador of Brazil. In name of him, compliment all the government officers here present. Also compliment Mr. Liu Ching Tong, Deputy Minister of MITI, and in name of him, compliment all the government officers from Malaysia, and also from Mr. Anju Chan, compliment all the industry leaders here present. So, I want to speak a little bit. My major goal here is to give you an overview about what we have developed in Brazil for the semiconductor industry, and introduce the Brazilian Association of the Semiconductor Industry that was funded. I'm one of the founder of this institution in 2014, and we are now close to have 20 companies. It's important to say that here we only consider industry association that could do the dedicated for semiconductor and are really doing the semiconductor business in Brazil. We are not taking global companies or electronic companies to our association because this association only speak on behalf of semiconductor activities in Brazil. In order to give you an overview about Brazil, we have 8 companies in IC design. They are all servicing companies. All those companies are servicing abroad, Brazil, so they are servicing global companies, and they employ 513 designers. So it's a small number, I know, but it's important to look at the opportunity because USA owns 32% of the designers in the IC design area. China 28, India 19, so it runs for 79% in total, only 3 countries, which means that we in Brazil believe we can start to develop talents, and that could be an opportunity. It's already well said here about the lack of talents we have in the semiconductor segment. So this could be an opportunity for Brazil. Is one of the areas that Brazil is investing is to develop talents for the semiconductor industry in different segments, in different areas. On the manufacturing operating side, we have the major business in the IC and package and test area. 5 companies doing the business in Brazil. Other 4 in different activities, including solar cells, as here already mentioned. And we have 2 companies in the front end area. They are now no operating companies. One is a Saytech, which is now coming back to operation as a great opportunity for investment in Brazil. Is a Ministry of Science and Technology owned company and being in discussion to be privatized. And they have a very nice infrastructure to develop certain levels of front end. Also, Unitech, with an infrastructure that was not yet put in operation, but could be an opportunity for investment. But we think that the major opportunity for Brazil is to continue to develop the package and test area. Once we already have in Brazil about $1 billion in semiconductor activities locally developed in Brazil. That's mostly done by these 5 companies in the packaging, and those companies are actually has already invested in the ABISEMI, not only those 5, but those almost 20 companies in the ABISEMI already invested $2.5 billion from 2014 when we start tracking this investment in Brazil. So meaningful investment for a small business, over 2,500 employees, over $230 million in investment in R&D. But when you look to the bottom right side of this slide, it's important to say that Brazilian government has gone to a plan here called the PADIS. PADIS is responsible for the growth of semiconductor industry in Brazil. I don't recall having in history a revenue in Brazil that rounds to $1 billion in pure semiconductor activities, not electronic, but just semiconductors. But the incentive is given is actually equal to the tax collection that those companies are generating, which means the investment has been paid off, and that's a good news, so we can invest more. This slide is important to show the local products we are now producing and the applications. You can see here we are widely producing products for the IT segment mostly, and now coming the opportunity in automotive, as it was already mentioned here, with a local support in Brazil. But one important number here is to say that 70 to 90% of the products in this segment, servers, desktops, notebooks, all these products listed here, 70 to 9% is actually made in Brazil. That creates a local market that's very interesting for semiconductor opportunity. This is not exhaustive, but give you an idea about the expertise. So we are now really mass production in Brazil with a chip design for certain ASICs, controllers, RFID, smart cards, sensors, among others. Those are the major products that we are designing in Brazil. We also have a product design SiP, system in package, with a different type of products, including products related to IoT. Single multi-package, EMCPs, UMCPs. The majority of the business in Brazil is actually related to the packaging and test of memories, high-end memories actually for EMCPs, UMCPs, for smartphones, for tablets, for computers, for servers. And those actually end up going also to the memory modules, which can go to data centers and other products. So also design and manufacturing for SiPs from wafers. So combining memories, controllers, developing software and firmwares, combining radio frequency device and broadcasting device. We are now making certain products from SiPs. It's going to be an important capability for upcoming growth in the 5G, in the automotive, and specific IoT markets. We also fully capable designing our substrates, our PCBs for all the major markets we serve, and of course the full encapsulation process and materials that are designed for those segments, including firmwares and test programs for our products. In the manufacturing side, we are running world-class manufacturing and Industry 4.0, machine-to-machine communication. We are developing our internal MES for system management. So each of those factories has a specific MES developed by ourselves. So most of the lines are pretty much automated and made, including utilization of robots, especially in case of testing area. And we are grinding down wafers to the level of 30 micrometers as of now. That allows us to do packaging to the level of 16 die packaging and 12 multi chip packaging. So that's pretty much what we are doing in mass production in Brazil. When you look to the opportunities, and here I said how important Malaysia is, especially with the packaging serving about 13% of the market, we see this as an opportunity in Brazil, especially because when you look to this page here, even though there is no Malaysian name here, I'm sorry about that, but it might be others also. But we see here clearly, US with 11% wafer fabrication, and their goal with CHIP Acts goes to 30%. We see China very important in the packaging with 38%, US only 5%. Brazil with a $1 billion mostly in packages is still very small, but we may come as an opportunity just like to grow, just like Malaysia is doing, in order to grow our packaging and task capability to serve abroad, which is now serving only domestic market. We see the opportunity to join Brazil into a supply chain resilience program, a partner with a Malaysian, looking to a more investment in Brazil to serve Brazil, US, Europe, or even abroad. So we believe this is the way to start expanding business in Brazil by expanding our packaging and task capabilities with an investment and future, just like mentioned by the Malaysia Industry Association 2030. Brazil also is challenging future to have a wafer fab. And right now we are looking for investment to burst our existing wafer fab, small wafer fab of SATEC or Unitec. So here is the major pillars for developing of the Brazilian industry. This is pretty much what the Brazilian government has developed across the years with support from industry leaders communicating what is necessary to do in order to improve the semiconductor business in Brazil, which is access to low-cost funding, access to in the international market, and especially in the procurement and sales area, of course, importation, exportation, and reduction of the taxes for the investment, especially capex, and all the materials. So that already created an ecosystem, like I said, that has developed the business, especially in the test and in the packaging. Another one is developing R&D. Already we saw some example of R&D developing Brazil in El Dorado, and this is very much essential for the developing and the continuation of the business. So also we are investing in education, technology, capacitation for the human research in the semiconductor. So either on universities, R&D centers, or dedicated graduation in semiconductor area that could burst the talent and could develop the talent in Brazil. I mentioned 500 designers in Brazil, 2,500 employees in Brazil in the semiconductor area. But there is a lot of Brazilians working abroad in the semiconductor segment. We wanted to be able to develop a business in Brazil in order to bring back those, just like mentioned by the Malaysian industry right now. We have the same intention to repatriate these experts we have in Brazil in the semiconductor in order to develop more business in Brazil. And last, tax incentives and regulatory landscape also help. Brazil has IT laws I mentioned, which call for Brazilian basic production process that gives incentives for those that manufacture in Brazil in certain level by choice. Also PADIs, the semiconductor industry, also Lei do Bem, which is basically an incentive for the R&D area, and the Manaus Free Trade Zone in the down center of Amazon, which we have also a free tax zone. By organizing this ecosystem and taking advantage of those incentives, Brazil has been dragging down the cost and creating more competitiveness and attractiveness. More recently, we are now discussing, and we expect this to come soon in Brazil. That could be an opportunity for the next 10, 15 years to continue investing in semiconductors in Brazil. We are now calling Brazil Semiconductor Plan, new PADIs. We are not clear about the name yet, but these will basically be sustainable by these 6 pillars here. So which means no tax in production chain. So For semiconductor products, it's extremely important we create an equal ecosystem for cost as we have in Asia, as we have abroad, in order to compete in Brazil and abroad. Another one is incentives for R&D. We already have. We need to increase the incentives in R&D, especially to develop talents and also develop technologies. Domestic market creation. Brazil is 220 million people. Brazil has still a huge amount of people, quantity of people that is opportunity for the IT market. They are still growing in IT consumption. So the latent market is huge. Creating this demand could create a lot of opportunities for Brazilian companies. But of course, we need to export. We need to create a fast, simple, and costless custom clearance process in order to import and export our goods and develop HR. And of course, in the end, we need low-cost funding, equity, and CAPEX investment. So this new PADS program is going to create opportunities in all those pillars here. This is my last slide, just the conclusion. Then I'm trying to be very quick here because I know we are going ahead of time. But we believe that this is the great moment for semiconductor area. We see the largest investment in semiconductors factories in the whole history of semiconductors now. In the last year, this year is coming now. So we see the lack of opportunities, the lack of professionals, the opportunity to develop professionals. We think Brazil could be one of the providers of good engineering and good human research. We see that the jobs is needed everywhere. 900,000 jobs we heard here today is going to be lagging from in 2030 in the semiconductor. We think Brazil, with the new PADS, could reinforce the semiconductor and join the global semiconductor chain somehow. We think that semiconductor is the heart of a technology innovation. A country like Brazil should, of course, make strong efforts to participate in this segment. And the dominance of the industry will be extremely important, not only for national economy, but also for the technology interests. Being so, we believe the Brazil geopolitical region, being nearshoring, friendshoring to every country. Brazil has no restriction to play. Brazil is easier to play than most of the abroad countries believe so. So we need to now make this kind of forum. We need to start discussing with other countries our opportunities, show what we have in order to really attract new investment and develop our market. Thank you very much.